Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. In this beautiful journey of Sanatana Bhakti Margam, today we are going to learn the shloka of food prayer. Before learning the shloka, let us understand its significance. Every activity of man is dependent on the energy he derives from the intake of food. The sadhanas he ventures upon depends on the quantity and quality of food taken. As the food, so is the mind. As the mind, so are the thoughts. Our ancestors recommended offering of food to Paramatma before partaking. Food so partaken becomes prasad. Prayer cleanses the food from 3 impurities: absence of cleanliness in the vessels used, in the ingredients or foodstuff used, and in the process of cooking. Now, let us discuss these in detail. Impurity in the vessels used. When we cook food at home, we ensure that the vessels are tidy and clean. But when we buy food from outside, we are not sure of the cleanliness of the vessels used. The second in the list is cleanliness of the foodstuff or ingredients used. In today's world, there is a lot of adulteration in many ingredients that we buy. And these ingredients pass so many hands before they reach us. We do not know with what intention or thought they were produced or handled. The last but not the least is the absence of cleanliness in the process of cooking. This is the most important thing that has to be addressed when the food is cooked. In the process of cooking, what thought went in the mind of the person who cooked the food is very important and has a very high influence on the mind of the person who is eating it. Whether it is home food or food from outside, we do not know what thought went in the mind of the person who cooked the food. When we cook food at home, many a times we would have noticed that our mothers always recited shlokas or sang bhajans when they cooked the food. This is to ensure that positive vibrations go into the food that is cooked, which in turn goes into the mind of the person who is eating it. Now, let me illustrate this with a short story. Once there was a rich man. He wanted to invite a rishi for lunch. He had made all the arrangements perfectly. In fact, the vessels that were supposed to be used were all silver. The tumblers, the spoons, the plate, everything was silver and they were kept ready. But unfortunately, his wife fell ill that day. She was not able to cook. So, they quickly hired a cook who was available in the village. The cook came to the house and started making the preparations. And his eyes fell on the silver tumbler and the spoons. He thought for a second, what is going to happen if I take a tumbler and a spoon? Nobody is going to know. With this thought, he cooked the food. And he got engrossed in his work. Then it was lunchtime and the rishi came. He enjoyed every dish that was prepared. After the meal, the rishi blessed the rich man and his wife and he left. And soon the rich man noticed that a tumbler and a couple of spoons were missing. He immediately checked with the cook, but he didn't have it. Then he understood that the rishi must have taken it by mistake. So he rushed to check if the rishi had the spoons and the tumbler. In the meantime, the rishi had reached his hermitage and When he put his hand into his bag, he saw a couple of spoons and a tumbler. He was taken aback. He decided to go back to the rich man and return them. On the way, they met each other. The Rishi apologized and said, "I'm so sorry, my dear. I do not know how these spoons and the tumbler came into my bag." The rich man didn't want to make it a big issue and decided to leave. But the Rishi stopped him and asked him, "May I know who cooked the food for the day?" And the rich man explained that they had to hire a cook as his wife was not feeling well. The Rishi said, "This explains everything. Come, let's go have a word with the cook." And they both went back to the rich man's house and spoke to the cook. The cook apologized and accepted his mistake. From this story, we understand that the thought with which the food is cooked goes into the mind of the person eating it. So, it is very clear that all these three impurities must be removed from the food before we partake it. Let us remember to recite the food prayer before every meal. I have uploaded the video of food prayer separately. The practice and learn and the recite video. Let us learn and recite the shloka before every meal. Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu.